Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Saf Dillon. I'm the president and CEO of iMetal Resources. We're a Canadian company based, I'm based in Vancouver, British Columbia. Excuse me, we have 3 projects, 2 gold focused in Ontario and 1 graphite based in Quebec. As our mission statement clearly dictates, we think that we're truly on a path or on a mission of discovery. And I'll show you why here in the next few slides. We're listed TSX Venture, OTC, QB, as well as on Frankfurt. So why invest in iMetal Resources? As I mentioned, we are on a mission of discovery. All of our projects, all 3 of them, are focused in what's called the Abitibi Greenstone Belt. It's a big swath of land that cuts through a chunk of Ontario and the neighboring province, Quebec. And this piece of land, if you want to call it that, it actually is probably one of the most prolific regions anywhere in the world. This region has produced well over 200 million ounces of gold, plus 400 million plus ounces of silver, and plus a number of other minerals. This comes from roughly about 22 mines and 3 million ounces of production and reserves. This area is also host to some of the largest mining companies in the world. Every single one of them has either a mine in production or they have a deposit that's ready to be mined. We have our flagship property. It's called Gowganda West. This sits in the middle of a new, relatively new, underexplored little district of the Abitibi called the Shining Tree Camp. This camp is, like I said, right now kind of in a bit of a hotbed of activity, and we'll talk about that as we go through this. Last 2 years, or about 2 years ago, we actually drilled about 4,600 meters at Gowganda West. Every hole hit gold mineralization, but it was hole number 4 that we qualify, or it qualifies as a discovery hole. This hole hit roughly 50 meters of a gram of gold in the ground. And within that, there was about another 20 meters of a gram and a half, and then another 8 to 9 meters of almost 3 grams per ton. So where there's smoke, there's fire. So we think we're onto something here. And then, of course, our management and board, we've got a little bit of a history about myself. I've been in the industry for about 20 plus years. I was actually lucky enough to work with a good group of guys in a good industry within the resource space. And actually there's a seasoned veteran, Mr. Gary Thompson here. He was also in the geothermal space. And I helped grow a company from about a $2 million market cap. And I think the peak was about 400 plus million US. We had probably 15 analysts covering the company. And we built 3 geothermal power plants in the Pacific Northwest of North America, Idaho, Oregon, and Nevada. So it was off the back of the success of that I got asked to be an independent director first on iMetal Resources. And from there, the board asked me to take over as president and CEO. So that was about a 10-year overnight success story. There was only a handful of us, I think, that really grew that space. And it was a great little tight-knit family. Another really, I think, key element is cap structure of a company. We currently have roughly about 36 million shares that are issued and outstanding. And most of that, 75 to 80%, is held by a small group of individuals. I think we still only have less than 150 shareholders right now. But 75 to 80% is held by management directors and friendlies, meaning people who have a vision. They see what we're doing, and they've given us 3 to 5 years from this last financing just in the last 6 months. That's a picture of one of our directors, who also happens to be a geologist, Tim Henneberry. He's been in the industry for roughly about 40, I like to say 43, 44. He says 40 is good enough, so I'll say 40 plus years. This picture just kind of quickly gives you a little snapshot of the Greenstone Belt within the Ontario region itself. I don't know if you can see on the right-hand side, there's the line, that's the border that separates Quebec from Ontario. And what we've shown here, the projects that have the labels in red and white are gold deposits that have 3 million ounces or greater. So you can see this is a pretty prolific region, and our projects are labeled in the black label with white lettering. Ghost Mountain, right next to the border with Quebec, and then of course our flagships near the bottom of the screen. This slide, I think, kind of gives you a bird's eye view of the Abitibi. And does this thing have a pointer? No? Okay, that's okay. I don't know if you can see, but right at the top, our three projects are labeled there, but right at the top is Carheil, kind of in the middle. You see the little red star. Ghost Mountain is in the middle, and then the flagship is near the bottom left. That's Gowganda West. And I think you can see all the major deposits or mines are located either on the fault structure systems, the shear zones, or right next to them. So this is a very, very active geological area. I think this slide is probably one of my favorite. It's not only is it nice and colorful, but I think it really tells the story. That's our project in the middle, in the red shading. We've actually only worked really in one area, but there has been one hole put in zone 3. Most of our activity has been in zone 1. This property was about 150 square kilometers, but in the last few months, we've actually let a bunch of claims go to the east side. That area is not quite, I wouldn't call it a dead zone, but it really is non-conducive to mineralization. The black line that kind of runs through the property at the top of the property, that's a provincial highway. So road access, this is, again, like I said, a very mining friendly, very busy activity. Logging roads have been actually cut through. You can see the lines that look like veins. Those are well-maintained logging roads that go through the property. I'm not going to go through all the companies, but if you take a look at some of the grades here, you can see this is a very, very high structure, high grade system. There's some companies drilling 7,000 grams per ton of silver. There's a 270 gram per ton hit of gold. And then if you come to our neighbors in the green, that company is called Aris Mining. They have been a very successful company, backed by one of the more successful billionaire miners from Canada. And they actually have been focused on their high-grade gold production down in Colombia. But they actually own, I don't know if you can see the red label here, it says the Juby Deposit. It actually was a couple of deposits. And through drilling, they've now merged them, formed them into 2 deposits. That deposit sits about 750 meters, not kilometers, meters from our discovery hole. So the theory has always been that we host potentially the extension of the Juby deposit, or we actually host the origination of the Juby deposit. And I think I mentioned right away, it looks like I'm running out of time, but I think I mentioned right away, this area has been in the news over the last few months. About 60 days ago, Aris Mining announced that they were selling the Juby deposit. Actually, it was a spin out. Their gold project is now owned by a company called McFarlane Lake Mining. And they have actually been very active since they signed the deal to acquire that deposit. They announced that they were going to be embarking on a 10,000 meter program. They announced that they were going to update their mineral resource estimate. The last time the report was done on the property, it was 2020, and it was approximately being reported as a 2.5 million ounce gold deposit. They closed the deal on Monday last week. Tuesday, they announced that this resource is actually now about 5.5 million ounces. And the potential now looks like between that Juby deposit and our property, it looks like we're looking at 10+ million ounces of gold here, potentially. So that's the upside for us. We're sitting at about a $10 million market cap. And I think we're going to be changing that because we're drilling here right now. We're looking to have this drilling completed in the next 30 to 45 days and hope to have assays out in the first quarter of next year. If anybody's got any questions, I'm over in booth 9. I'll be at booth 9.